To see you. First of all, congratulations on staying in the EFL. Just give us an idea what this week has been like since we knew that you would be a Football League club again next year.
Fantastic. So it was just job done, wasn't it? You know, it's what we set out to do, what we spoke about in the summer. Me and Andy, we'd done a fans forum, and he was quite happy, you know, being the target that he set of just being above the bottom two. So the target was reached, and you know, we could have got there sooner. We should have got there sooner. We shouldn't have been in the position we are. But this week has been, it's just a weight, just like a pressure cooker. So lid's been lifted, and you know, everyone's so happy that we got over the line and got the job done.
Until you're actually in it as the number one, can you relate to the pressure that there is?
I've never known any pressure like it in my life. I've never known a job like it. So the year experience now that I've had has put me in good stead going forward, you know, for what I do next and the next job and what have you. So I'm really looking forward to all what's coming now. You know, the lads are, the players are, you know, it's put us all a good foundation there for next season, I think.
What are the big sort of learnings you've taken, John, if there is something?
Just, I couldn't put my finger on, Andy. Honestly, I've never known emotions. I've never known pressure. It's you have to be in it, as you just said. You have to be in it to do it. I couldn't put my finger on one thing. You're dealing with a number of players, a squad of players. You're dealing with staff. You're just dealing with everything, and it's everyone has problems, and then you have to find the answers, solutions, whatever it is, and help them along the way, as an individual, as a team, as the team going out on the pitch, whatever that is. But it's a job that I enjoy doing it. So I always knew at some point, you know, I'd step up because I've had offers in the past that I've not took. And this was always a club that, when I first came in, is that I love being here. I love working with the people that I work with. I love working with the people that I'm working with now. And it's just a great club. You know, it's got a fantastic owner in Andy Holt, and you know, obviously the board, Dave Burgess and Warren's come in now. So it's just a great club, great set of fans, just everything about it. So I enjoy what I'm doing. I know the pressures of it all, and I know now when you say there is pressure, and I know what them pressures feel like now.
It's 100-mile-an-hour stuff, John, based on we put a microphone in front of you 10 minutes after a game. You've got to sum up your feelings in the best possible way, win, lose or draw. You've got to do a team talk straight after the game. You've got so much to do before and after. Has that been a big learning for you, that you're being judged on literally everything?
Yeah, but that's the job though, Andy, isn't it? I mean, that's why people step up. People thrive on that. So I get it now. I understand it all, and it is all the emotions that you go through, and all the pressures that you feel, the outside pressure, the inside pressure of everything. And as you said, you know, when you get a mic put into your hands, I mean, I've seen it at the top level when I've coached in, you know, at Premiership level, Championship and what have you, and I've seen how that works. So I've had an insight into being with Premiership and around Premiership managers in the rooms afterwards, and how they speak, how they conduct themselves, and how they bounce from one thing to the next thing, and I'm thinking, ooh. But that is the job. It's part of the job what you get used to. The more you do it, the more experience you gain. And the more stronger you think that it makes you, the more probably thick-skinned it definitely makes you. And all you've got to do is that every day when I get up, I try and do my best. I want to do my best, and if it's a club like this club, you want to do your best for this club, for Accrington Stanley, and hopefully that is your best. And Saturday, as I said, I wanted to get over the line, and that's what we all done, you know, as a team. You know, Jeb Brannan, all the other staff that were with us, and the players on the pitch done us credit.
And I know he's a friend of yours, John, and it probably makes it, I don't know whether it makes it easier or harder, actually. You tell me. The hard act to follow of John Coleman. I mean, for you to do it in your first full season, to still be in the league, John is such a difficult act to follow, isn't it?
Oh, it's like probably stepping into following Alex Ferguson, you know, someone at Manchester United. I think David Moyes tried to do it, so he's an absolute legend here, John. You know, he's done what he's done, and he's got all the rewards that he's got, you know, and I was part of that for what the seasons that we've been together, and you know, we travelled in every day, and we had a laugh, and you know, we had a professional relationship as well, which was really good. And as I said, it's a tough act to follow, but I didn't want to be the one that was, you know, everyone. There was probably people that were probably want to see the back of Accrington, if you like, to go down, and I didn't want to put my name to that. I didn't want to have a black mark. I know Jeb Brannan didn't want to have a black mark. I know the players didn't, and that was the challenge. And as I said before, it was the position that we shouldn't be in, you know, in terms of what we've got, in terms of attitude, desire, heart, everything about it, you know, that winning mentality that we wanted, and the club shouldn't have been in a position, but it was. We wanted to get over the line, we got over the line, and it was great, and as I said, it's a tough act to follow. You know, John's done a fantastic job here, and, you know, he's an absolute legend.
Do you think there has been a sense of that some people outside of here might well have been keen to see the back of Accrington?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Why?
I don't know, it's just life, isn't it? You know, there's teams that come here don't even want to come to Accrington. You know, people used to say about coming on a wet Tuesday, going to Accrington, and the ground's this and that. I mean, you look at the state of the art ground. As I said, Tuchel, Mr. Holt, Andy Holt has done a fantastic, he's Mr. Accrington, isn't he? He's done a fantastic job. The infrastructure, everything about it's totally changed. People come here now and they go, wow. You know, they see the facilities that we have and the money that Andy's invested in it. It's just, it's an unbelievable, it's a different place. It's a different world. And, you know, I just think, you know, in the past, people have wanted that probably Accrington to sort of fail. So me and Jed, we definitely didn't want Accrington to fail. We definitely didn't be the ones that, oh, well, I told you so, and have back-to-back relegations. So, you know, we haven't. We've done our best to make sure that didn't happen. And as I said, I got up every day and we got up every day to do our best. And our best has been good enough to keep us in the league this year, which has been really successful. And if you look at the season in a whole, in terms of staying in the league first and foremost, that was the challenge. We done that to get Liverpool, you know, at Anfield in the FA Cup. You know, that was just unbelievable. You know, I said I wanted Everton, but for Jed, Brannan, that is, get Liverpool. So we got Liverpool, and it was just surreal to go against a club that were at the time sitting top of the Premiership, top of the Champions League, and to go up against a manager like Arne Slot, who's world class, against a world class team in the end that he put out at Anfield in front of a full house, was just in front of all my family. You know, was with all special moments and memories. And this has been absolutely, you know, this has been a really, really good season, a successful season for the club.
Are you now reaching the horrible stage, John, where you're going to have to hold meetings with lads and tell them that their time's up, basically?
Yeah, we are, Andy, and that's football. You know, it is. That's the not so nice side of the job. You know, I've been there myself as a player. You know, you go in and you speak to a manager and they say, it's a Dear John letter, as they say. So, you know, but you think that's it. My world comes crashing down, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. You always move on, and you always get something else. Another door opens while one closes, and everything else about it. So it's not the nice side of the job, but it's a job that you have to do.
How long have you known what way you're going to go with the lads, John?
I've had a bit of an idea, but you know, it's more this since the Walsall game, and then you sort of reflect on most of the season that you've had, and then you start thinking about things. So I've had an idea since then of what where we want to go, and how we're going to go, and how we're going to go forward.
Just in terms of numbers, obviously the loan players expire after this weekend. Just how much turnover are you expecting, John? I think there's about 7 or 8 maybe out of contract. Obviously the loan players go back, and then, you know, obviously you have targets. I mean, the phone hasn't stopped since the window shut in January. I think the agents give you a week to breathe, and then they go just going forward now into the summer, and then it all starts again. So, and I'm a person that, you know, if someone rings me or texts me, I always want to answer them back, or want to call them back, or reply to a text. So that's been tough in that sense, because all my focus was to keep Accrington in the league. So, you know, the quicker I get that done, the quicker then you can move on to your targets and move on to answering calls and what have you. So, you know, that's the next thing now. We'll start on that this afternoon. How do you see summer recruitment? That you've given lads an opportunity, you've been playing down the pyramid, and so many of them have really taken to it. John, you've brought young loan players in. You've brought players in who've played in the Football League before. Is it going to be a mix again, would you say? It'd
have to be. I think it will. It's just the way the club is. You know, the club find gems from non-league and under 21s and what have you. So young lads come through, so you have to give them a chance. So that'll be the case. And that's, as I said, that's what the club do.
Got to ask you about your groundsman. Won the groundsman of the year for League Two. The pitch out there, just how much has that helped?
It's outstanding, isn't it? I mean, if you look at it now, you think it was the start of the season. And I know he's had a few games on it this week as well. You know, college teams playing on it in finals and what have you. So Ben and Worthy have done a fantastic job. You know, and it's even the training ground or the pitch down there that they look after is in good condition. But that is an absolute credit because the work that they put in is fantastic. We turn up here today, 8 o'clock, 8:15, me and Jed, and walk on. You can see them straight away. They're on the pitch. So, the both of them are dedicated and they've reaped the rewards.
Just how much can it help than to have something that's covered in sand or something that's covered in mud that won't do you any good at all, to have something like that?
Oh, well, we've had it before in the past, haven't we? Chalk and cheese, we've had a slopey pitch, a little bit of rain, all of a sudden it's waterlogged, the game's off. So, I've had all that in the past, but as I said, now it's a different club. Back to Andy Holt, he's turned it into a different club. The pitch is level, the pitch is unbelievable. He's invested in getting the right people in to look after it, and they are the right people, and the rewards that they've got for, as I said, now you look at it now, it looks like it was the first game of the season.
You just mentioned Andy Holt there. It's become clear that he's resigned as a director this week with the Company's House confirmation. It's something that's not new to Accrington. You knew that Andy Holt was stepping down and David Burgess would become chairman and Warren Easton would step into David's position. Just how would you sum up Andy's contribution on the board at Accrington, John? I
don't know what you can say about the man. I don't know. He just has everyone just knocking him. Obviously you've got the councillors and he's got his battle against them. But I just don't get it myself personally. I just think actually what he's done for the community, what he's done for this club. There should be a statue of him outside. So Andy's done a fantastic job, and I couldn't speak highly enough of the man.
As far as you're aware, does him leaving the board make any difference whatsoever to the future running of the club?
At the minute, I don't know. So all I can is when I go and have my meetings with Andy, myself, and me and Jed, and we sit down and chat. Then we'll know more. But at the minute, Andy's back on the club at the minute. We've got one game left, so we'll go from there. Just
on team selection for this, John, how are you looking, first of all? Is people missing or not?
Well, I think we had quite a few that were sore after Saturday, and one or two little niggles and stuff. So we'll have a medical meeting this morning. I'll speak to John, the physio, and Connor. And then we'll see what numbers we've got. And then whatever team goes out there on Saturday, it'll be a team that's going to compete.
Is there any sense of giving potentially players who might not be here next season
that could happen?
An opportunity?
That could happen, but I know they're all ready to play anyway. So, it's you couldn't, I'm not saying you could go on sentiment and emotions and what have you, but as I said, it's still got to be a team that the fans can get behind, and a team that has to compete. You look at Chesterfield, and I think they're unbeaten in 4 now. They're a good side, they're pushing for playoffs themselves if they get the results from elsewhere. So they'll come, they'll have a good back and a good following. And Paul Cook has his team playing, fantastic football. The shape that they play in, the plays that they've got.
And if you do get a good result and results go for you, John, you could be 12 points basically away from those relegation places. And it would look pretty comfortable in the end, wouldn't it?
It would, and you think what's all of us worrying the fuss about and everything else. But, if that's the case, brilliant. But, I'm just made up. It was done last week, Andy, honestly I am, because, last week there was about 8,000 at Walsall. We had a great following from our fans, were fantastic. They all come in fancy dress. And the players just stood up to the task, and man for man, and as a team, as individuals, and to win the game as well. And what was at stake for them, Walsall? As I said, they had the crowd behind, we had big following, and for us to go there and beat them 1-0 was credit to us and the staff.